Have you ever thought that traveling to Europe in 2025 sounds beautiful, but also expensive beyond imagination? Paris, London, Rome, just hearing the names makes your wallet hurt. But here's what very few people tell you. In Europe, there are still places where you can eat well, stay in nice places, travel comfortably at costs lower than a weekend in Miami or New York. And no, I'm not talking about boring, remote places or cheap because there's nothing there. I'm talking about ancient cities, crystal-clear beaches, cafes where you can sit for hours without anyone rushing you. Places where every dollar you spend brings a feeling worth more than its value. In this video, we'll go against the familiar tourist map together. No Paris, no London, not places that make you pay for fame. Instead, here are the 10 cheapest places to travel in Europe in 2025 in a smarter, slower way, and more memorable. And trust me, there's at least one place on this list that will make you pause the video and ask yourself, why have I never thought of this place? Let's begin. Number 10, Romania. If you want the classic European feel but don't want to pay modern European prices, Romania is one of the biggest surprises of 2025. This place is like going back in time, but your wallet doesn't get dragged back with it. Romania brings a very distinct old Europe feeling. Medieval towns, stone squares, old churches, and quiet streets. It's all here, just much cheaper than Prague or Vienna. In Transylvania, you can sleep in towns like Brasov or Sibiu. A charming Airbnb right in the center costs only about $30 to $40 a night. A hot meal with soup, grilled meat, and bread usually costs only $6 to $8. Bucharest has a completely different energy. Part old Parisian architecture, part vibrant cafes, bars, and nightlife. The cost of getting around by metro or tram is almost negligible. What makes Romania special is the feeling of not being over-touristed. You don't have to fight crowds, don't get overcharged, and everything moves quite slowly. If you like history, photography, and places that retain their authenticity, this is a very smart starting point. Number 9, Albania. Albania is the kind of place where you'll arrive and ask yourself, why isn't this place more famous? And the simple answer is it's still a secret. Along the Albanian Riviera, you'll find crystal-clear blue waters. Many stretches look no different from Greece or southern Italy, but the prices are only half, sometimes even lower. In coastal towns like Saranda or Kcamil, you can eat fresh seafood, drink local wine for about $10 to $15. Guest houses near the beach usually cost only $25 to $35 a night. What surprises many American travelers is the people here. Very friendly, very open, and extremely fond of foreigners. English isn't widespread everywhere, but smiles are everywhere. Albania isn't perfect, and you'll feel that. Infrastructure is still simple, traffic sometimes a bit chaotic, but that's exactly what creates the feeling of exploration rather than mass tourism. If you love the sea, like Mediterranean vibes, but don't want to pay Santorini or Amalfi prices, Albania is an extremely valuable choice in 2025. Number 8, Poland. Poland is one of the most balanced countries in Europe for budget travel. Not too flashy, but very livable, easy to navigate, and easy to love. Especially if you're an American exploring Eastern Europe for the first time. Krakow is the perfect stopping point to start. The old town is beautiful as a painting, wide square, castles, churches, and dense history. Everything is within walking distance. A full meal at a local restaurant usually costs only $7 to $10. Fresh beer is only about $2 to $3 a glass, and public transportation is cheap, clean, and extremely punctual. Poland is also a place that tells very real stories. From World War II history to old Jewish quarters, day trips like Auschwitz leave strong and deep emotions. Compared to Prague or Vienna, Poland is quieter, less touristy, and easier to breathe in. You don't need to spend money just to be there. If you like cities with depth, just enough nightlife, just enough history, cheap enough to stay longer than a few days, Poland is an extremely solid choice for 2025. Number 7, Portugal. Portugal is the kind of place that makes you slow down without trying. Not because there's nothing to do, but because everything here happens just comfortably enough. Beyond Lisbon and Porto, smaller cities like Coimbra or Braga bring a very different feeling. Fewer tourists, clearer local rhythm, and costs much lighter too. You can start the morning with a strong coffee, a warm custard tart, and still not spend $3. Lunch is usually grilled fish, hot soup, or a simple pork sandwich. Prices range from $7 to $10 at family-run places. Local wine is sometimes cheaper than bottled water. Getting around between cities in Portugal is quite comfortable. Trains are clean, easy to use, and don't make you calculate too much. A short coastal trip might cost only as much as a few miles of gas in America. The most valuable thing about Portugal isn't in the check-in spots. It's in those slow afternoons, sitting watching the streets go by without needing an itinerary. If you like Europe but don't like stress, want to save money while feeling like you're living, Portugal is a very reasonable choice for 2025. Number 6. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina isn't a place you visit out of passing curiosity. This is a place you stay longer than planned, just because the feeling here is very real. Sarajevo is the center of everything. A city where churches, mosques, and cafes stand side by side. Just walk a few minutes and you've stepped through many different layers of history. Living costs for tourists are extremely comfortable. A full meal with grilled meat, bread, and salad is usually under $8. Traditional coffee is so cheap you'll order another without thinking. Mostar brings a completely different atmosphere. The old stone bridge, the blue river, and small alleys create a very cinematic scene. No tickets needed, no lines, just walk slowly. Bosnia doesn't try to impress. Everything here is simple, sometimes a bit rough, but that's exactly what makes the experience memorable. If you're not looking for glamour, but want a trip with depth, Bosnia and Herzegovina is a place that makes you think more than spend money. Number 5. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is one of the rare European Union countries where costs remain very accessible. And this is evident from the first day you set foot there. Sofia isn't showy, but has enough restaurants, parks, and open spaces to make you feel comfortable. Everything operates smoothly without too much effort. For only about $5 to $7, you already have a hot meal from local eateries. Simple food, filling, and true to everyday life. Plovdiv has a different color. Old Town, Roman Theater, and cobblestone streets create a very peaceful space. Evenings here pass slowly and comfortably. Getting around Bulgaria is quite convenient. Buses and trains are available on most necessary routes. Costs are so low you don't need to plan too meticulously. Bulgaria doesn't try to become a trendy destination. It's simply an easy place to stay, easy to navigate, and doesn't create financial pressure. For those who want to experience Europe in a more practical way, this is a very worthwhile consideration. Number 4. Slovenia. Slovenia doesn't attract attention like the big names around it, but that discretion makes the experience here much more pleasant. Everything is just right, not too much, not too little. Ljubljana is a compact and green capital. You can walk from the old town to parks, riverbanks, restaurants in one afternoon. The atmosphere here makes people automatically speak more quietly. Lake Bled brings the feeling of stepping into a painting. The lake, mountains, small church on the island, all sitting peacefully in their right places. You don't need to pay for tour to see this beauty. Costs in Slovenia are much lower than other alpine countries. A full meal usually ranges around $8 to $12. Small guesthouses and hotels maintain reasonable prices even during peak season. Nature is Slovenia's greatest strength. Forests, lakes, trails, and national parks are always very close to cities. Most outdoor experiences are free. Slovenia suits those who want balance. Not too crowded, not too expensive, not too noisy. Just simply a place that makes you feel comfortable being in it. Number 3. Greece. Greece doesn't only exist in social media photos. Beyond the familiar spots, there are still many islands that live slowly and are accessible. Just turn off the crowded path and the experience changes completely. Places like Naxos, Paros, or inland Crete bring a very everyday feeling. Wide beaches, clear water, and nobody rushing. The cuisine here is simple but always does its job right. Meat wraps, fresh salad, cheese, and olive oil appear every day. The cost for a filling meal is usually just a few euros. Moving between islands isn't too complicated. Slower but cheaper ferries help you save significantly. Time on the sea also becomes part of the journey. In Greece, you don't need to book a packed schedule. Just choose a beach, a roadside eatery, and let the day pass. That's how this place shows its real appeal. If you want the Mediterranean but don't want to feel overexploited, the less mentioned corners of Greece will give you a much fuller experience. Number 2 is Turkey. Turkey is a place where every day feels very different. History, modern life, and local culture constantly intertwine. This richness rarely comes with such comfortable prices. Istanbul is a city that doesn't stand still. You can step from a bustling street into a quiet courtyard in just minutes. All senses are activated at once. The cuisine here needs no elaborate introduction. Small street stalls serve hot meals at very low costs. Each meal feels carefully prepared. Outside Istanbul, the pace of life changes noticeably. Cappadocia, the Aegean coast, or ancient ruins open up completely different spaces. Domestic travel costs remain under control. What makes Turkey stand out is the value-to-money ratio. Big experiences don't require big budgets. You pay less but receive more than expected. Turkey doesn't need to try to impress. It does so naturally through depth, diversity, and accessibility. And that's why this place ranks very high on the 2025 list. Number 1, Hungary. Hungary stands in this position not because it's the cheapest, but because it's a rare place that combines comfortable costs with a complete experience. You don't have to sacrifice too much to have a memorable trip. Budapest is the center of that feeling, a city where you can spend the whole day just walking without getting bored. Each neighborhood has its own rhythm, not rushing you to leave. The ancient thermal baths are a very distinctive part. Without understanding deep history, you still feel the very real relaxation. Entry costs are much lower than similar experiences in other capitals. Cuisine in Hungary isn't elaborate but substantial. Stews, bread, and local eateries appear everywhere. A decent meal usually doesn't exceed $8 to $10. Getting around the city is quite simple. Trams, buses, and metro connect the main areas well. You don't need to constantly call taxis to feel convenient. What makes Hungary stand out is the feeling of balance. Not too crowded, not too expensive, and not too unfamiliar. If this is your first European trip with a limited budget, Hungary is a very safe starting point. So we've gone through 10 different places, 10 very different ways to look at Europe in 2025, and perhaps also 10 reasons to rethink the concept of expensive travel. The destinations on this list don't require you to spend beyond your means. They only require you to choose the right direction, and sometimes turn onto a slightly less traveled road. Europe doesn't only exist in familiar icons. It lies in slow mornings, simple meals, and cities that still live for local people. You don't need to go really far, you just need to travel smarter, and allow yourself to stay a bit longer in each place. If there's one destination in this video that made you pause and think, that might be the sign you're looking for. Let your next trip start from there. If you found this video helpful, let me know which place intrigued you most. And if you want to continue exploring Europe in a more accessible way, don't forget to follow so you don't miss the next journeys.